Hi everyone, it's your girl Whitney Luna, and the topic of today is inner child healing. And I want to kind of give a better understanding, maybe some healing strategies you can use, because I hope that people on this channel kind of understand what it is that I'm trying to get across with my videos and my messages. And that is that when you peel away layers, when you heal, when you get to the root cause of certain, I guess you could say, bad habits or certain things in your life that feel like they're out of your control, it's when you really get into healing and really get into self-discovery that you find out, oh, that's why I always dated people like that. Oh, that's why I could never get a job promotion. Oh, that's why I always tend to have a drink when I'm stressed out. Like, you realize a lot of things about yourself, and I hate to say it, but a lot of it does stem from childhood. A lot of it does stem from programming through our childhood, through our teens, whether it's peer pressure, whether it's pressure from family. It really does affect your adult life. And I'm going to use an example. I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding this show, but Euphoria is honestly the perfect show when it comes to seeing how childhood trauma really affects your dating life, well, they're not adults, they're teens, but it even affects their lives in their teenage years. So for instance, I forget her name. Is it Manny? I think it's Manny, and her with her unhealthy relationship with her boyfriend. It really correlates with her parents and their unhealthy relationship, and how there's a lot of toxicity within that. The other one, I forget her name, the blonde girl's name, and how she's lacking a father figure. So you notice she wears a lot of revealing clothing that normally, if a father was around, they'd be like, cover up. What are you doing? You don't go out like that. And it also affects her dating life, her being used sexually by these other boys at school. Like, it really, a lot of that does stem from childhood, which is unfortunate, but now that you are in a different part in your life, it really is time for you to take control and take back that power. Don't think about the past and, bad decisions you may have made. Well, obviously, sometimes you need to in order to get a better understanding, but I don't want you to kind of ruminate in it and get depressed and say, oh my God, I was so stupid. I was so this. You were young, you were naive, now you're in a different place in your life, and now you truly have the power to change. And it's not going to happen overnight. It definitely takes time. I'll be honest, I used to be into like the whole party lifestyle. In my early 20s, I was definitely more into the drinking. And I remember not really, there's definitely fun moments, but I remember just getting to a point, and I was still in my early 20s, and I was like, this really isn't going to get me anywhere. And I decided to stop with that, but it didn't stop overnight. Like, I'd say it took me a few years to really cut with the drinking, because even though I wasn't going out, I'd still like maybe drink by myself, or like buy a bottle of wine and just be like, I just need to relax. And that didn't really help the issue either. And I noticed that as I healed more and as I got to know myself more, I just am at a point now where I'm like, I do not want to partake in that. That is not who I am. That is, it doesn't fix anything. I hate a bad hangover. So that's all things that I discovered, and that's all actions that I noticed pretty much happened automatically as I healed within myself and as I peeled away the layers and really got to know who I am below all the trauma and all the confusion and all that stuff. So inner child healing is doing what you used to love without any judgment. No judgment. Nobody's going to judge you because nobody's there to judge you, right? So when it comes to inner child healing, it's kind of going back and, I really recommend maybe making a list of things that you used to like, whether it was certain types of music, maybe it was like going out and, I don't know, playing hopscotch with your friends. Like, it really is about going back to that child and seeing what it is that you used to love and why things had to change over time. Like, obviously there's certain things that we don't do as adults because I don't know, it would just be weird to go to a playground when there's a bunch of kids and to play on the playground with the kids, unless you have kids yourself, right? But this is more about recognizing the child that was hurt, because that inner child work is basically recognizing that part of yourself that was hurt and never felt heard. Because if you have kids yourself, you know that when kids act out and when they're upset and when they're screaming and crying and maybe throwing things, it's not about them trying to hurt anybody or hurt themselves. they're feeling a very strong emotion and don't know how to express it. Like as an adult, we can go to somebody that hurt us and say, look, you did this to me, or you said this, you really hurt me, this bothers me because of this. Like as adults, we can express ourselves. Kids, they cannot. Or if you were in maybe a situation or in a situation or in an environment where things weren't really healthy and you didn't really notice, or you didn't really have a way to express it, or you didn't know any better, but you knew that something wasn't right. And it's really about, getting into alignment and really understanding that, just because they were older than you, or just because it was your parents, or just because it was an adult figure, doesn't make it right. They may have just been repeating what their parents taught them, and what their parents' taught them. So it really is about breaking those generational curses, healing, peeling away the layers, and just becoming your authentic self. And like I said, nobody's there to judge you. So one of the things that I did that was kind of funny and kind of cringy was I made a list of songs that I used to like as a kid. And I just I listened to that playlist one afternoon, and I was like, some of these songs are funny, some of them are cringy, and some of them are downright disturbing, because I didn't realize how many songs back in the 90s were pandered to kids and had so much sexual innuendos, which was really disturbing within itself. But on top of that, it was just funny to just kind of listen to old songs. I'm like, really, this was the bop back in the day. This was the number one hit back in the day. But still, it's all love. It's all about just enjoying those moments with no judgment. Another thing that I said in previous videos that I like to do is I like to go to the store and buy, little candies and some treats like chips and candies, and just watch old Disney movies that I used to like. Obviously, don't overindulge, but that's a big thing for me, because I remember as a kid, I always loved candy, and my parents didn't buy a lot of it, understandably so, and I'm thankful they didn't. But one of the things I always said as a child was, I was like, as soon as I am an adult, I am going to go out and I'm going to buy so much candy. As soon as I get a job, I'm going to buy so much candy for myself, because nobody can tell me not to, or whatever. Because when you're a kid, $100 is $1 billion, right? 2 chocolate bars is the most amazing thing in the world, right? Obviously, as an adult, I don't go and spend all my money on candy. Which is funny when I think about it now. But, it's just those little things, because it's not so much that your inner child needs to be healed. It's that your inner child just wants to be heard. It wants to be recognized. So if some old, not so nice memories come up, and they definitely will, you have a way to express it. If you want to punch a pillow, punch a pillow. If you want to scream and cry, then do it, because that inner child just wants to be recognized. It wants to be cared for. It wants to be respected. What do kids generally do when they get hurt? They cry and they call for their mom or their dad, right? What happens when they finally spot their mom and dad, or their mom comes over? They give their mom a hug and they're like, oh my God, I'm so upset. It's that warmth. They're looking for that recognition. They're looking for that love. You taking care of yourself, doing a little bit of self-pampering, put on a nice kids movie that you used to like, a nice Disney movie. That's one of my favorite things to do every once in a while, and just really enjoy it. Who cares how cheesy it is? It can be I think one of my favorite movies, I think her name was it Thumbelina or something? I can't remember the name. But just really cheesy movies from back then that I used to love, I can watch now and not feel judged, because I'm just watching it by myself. So there's no judgment, Go out and play hopscotch, or go to your old school that you went to in childhood and play at the park one evening. Just be just take it in. Just remember the old memories of you being there. And if there's not so nice memories, just be you know what? I'm here and I'm safe. I'm here and I'm loved, So yeah, inner child work is really just about being yourself without judgment, not being judged. Because I guarantee at one point in your life, you like to play a particular video game, you like to listen to a particular type of music, and you were just a kid being a kid, but somebody told you, oh, that's so stupid, that's so immature, it's time to grow up. And honestly, one of the best things that you can do as an adult is hold on to that little bit of youth that will never die within you. I still talk to some people that are older than me, and they're like, oh, one of my favorite things to do on Saturday mornings is to just sit and eat some cereal and watch old cartoons. I'll download the old cartoons that I liked in the 90s and just sit and watch cartoons in the morning, like how I used to do as a kid, you know, because there's no judge. Who's going to judge you? And plus, who really judges that? Like, who cares? There's old cartoons that I still like to watch, so I'm going to be completely honest about that. So inner child work is that inner child that just needs to be recognized and doesn't want to be judged and just wants to be loved. And like I said, there are going to be some old memories that come up, so please be very gentle with yourself. You know, I don't recommend going and verbally harassing people who maybe have bullied you back then. Like, I've heard of people doing that. Do not do that. You know, just feel what you need to feel, release what you need to release, and just give yourself love in the many beautiful different ways that you can. So that's it for this video. I love you guys so much. Take care.